Hello guys, I'm Sudarshana Starshine Star, and I hope this is finding you very well on this beautiful Friday. It's June 20th, 2025. This will be in the series that I've been doing the past couple days. It will be, it's called Exclusive, Virginia Giuffre's Dead Man Switch, and this will be part 6. Something unusual happened. I had mentioned it on my TikTok, but I'd been keeping these short so I could post these on TikTok, and even though I'm on my 6th TikTok, it's quite new. In just a year and a half, I've gone through that many because they keep getting zeroed out, if you know what I mean, because I tell the truth and I bring receipts and I help people to discover that for themselves. And the controllers of our MSM and socials, they don't appreciate that. They don't like that. But a big change is in the wind. Don't worry about that. Anyway, I had my part 5 of this series on TikTok. It was PULLED. And I appealed, and luckily this morning it was reinstated. But I'm going to be able to do this a little bit longer because I'm not going to post this part 6 on TikTok. I'll just keep it here on YouTube so I won't have to cut it off before 10 minutes. And yeah, it seems TikTok is even, they told me this big long thing that even on a brand new account, if you get even one STRIKE, just one is all it takes for your whole account to be zeroed out. So what's more strict than that? I don't know. I begin all of my clips with the 3 opening prayers, and I do this to bless, uplift, purify, and protect you, me, and this clip. It is in Sanskrit and Telugu. That's what I'm saying. It is the Guru Mantra, the Ganesha Mantra, and the Gayatri Mantra. And I want to stress for anyone who's new, who hasn't heard my clips or doesn't know this, that these bijaksharas or bijas or seed sound words that you're hearing in Sanskrit and Telugu from ancient India, ancient Vedic knowledge, they're not anything about religion. It's not about the Hindu religion. It's not about any religion. Spirituality is not religion. Spirituality includes and encompasses every single being that's alive, because we are spirit encased in flesh and matter. And these words are the bijaksharas, the bijas, are the exact ones that Mother Divine used to create not only this universe, but all universes. Mother Divine is the creator. Father Divine is the divine consciousness and the caretaker of all of Mother Divine's creations. And even though they are separated out in truth, wherever you find Mother Divine, you find Father Divine. Wherever you find Father Divine, you find Mother Divine. All right, here we go. Om, Om, Om Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Devo Maheshwaraha, Guru Sakshat Parabrahmam, Tasmai Sri Guruve Namaha. Om Suklam Bharataram Vishnum Sashivarnam Chatubhujam Prasanavadanam Dhyaye Sarva Vignopashante. Om Bhur Bhuva Suvaha Tatsavitur Varenyam Bhago Devasya Dhimahi Diyo Yonaha Prachodayat. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Very good. Well, my heart is full right now because right before I wanted to start recording this, I saw a little short clip of, it looked like some kind of women's college. It was all the Iranian young women. It was like a 2-story thing. They were upstairs in the gallery. They were covering the stairs. They were down in the lower level. They were chock-a-block. It was hundreds and hundreds of young women. And luckily there was kind of a blur. It was shot from the back, but whomever's face was in profile or a few turning toward whoever was filming, they were made blurry so they couldn't be identified. Thank goodness. They were shouting in unison with great, ferocious spirit, and they were yelling the unalive word, DEATH, to the regime leader, dictator, and to the Islamic regime. They were saying those two things at once, all of them together. And they were throwing their hijabs, the covering that covers their head, they were throwing them up in the air. And then it seems like a lot of them were even on the floor, and there was hundreds of them doing that. I can't stress the danger of that, of what the repercussions are in Iran for women to do that. They were like on fire with spirit. And there's a difference when you hear, like when you're here in the US, when you hear, which I have in my face, you hear the Antifa or the communist leftists, the satanic groups that militarize themselves and attack not only American citizens, but the federal forces, police forces. They attack anything, honestly. And when they yell, you just hear a very thwarted, upside down, twisted, self-hating fury. And they could be many of them are paid, and that's proven that, but they could be protesting like, don't put peanut butter on your PB&J. They don't know what they're saying. They just want to hate on something. They don't have common sense. You try to have a discussion. Nope. 0, 0, 0, 0. It's just like they could just be furious over, that one tire is more inflated on a car than the other three. They will just have anything to go crazy about, and all they want to do is destroy, maim, mutilate, unalive, and just make things into a true living, burning purgatory hell of nightmarish despair and degradation and just foulness. And there's really a difference when you hear those beings when they're trying to chant or say something, or they don't really chant, they scream, they howl like banshees. And those are just the men. You should hear the shrill voices of the females and the ones in between. Anyway, so like I said, this will be the sixth part of a series that I've been doing called Exclusive, Virginia Giuffre's Dead Man Switch. The first one was called Dead Man Switch Activated because I did read her Dead Man Switch, the first capsule of it, because it's on a timer, and who knows when the next one will come out, but they are coming out. So you might want to go back and listen. I kept those very short, under 10 minutes, so you'll get the backstory. But it's surprising because even though in the last, I think it was part 4 and part 5, when I was talking about, and if you're on my YouTube, you can see in the thumbnail a photograph that I put there on part 5. I showed Lady Boy Gaga in the red lace dress, mini dress that covered the face and even had like a large, pointy, satanically askew red lace crown that Lady Boy Gaga was wearing. And I thought I had talked in detail about what that really meant, because it was coming off the heels of the discussions I've had. I've been talking about what Alan Rockefeller, otherwise known as Ellen DeGeneres, was doing on the Ellen DeGeneres quarantine show at Ellen's home, and how she was trying to warn Tom Hanks and doing different things like that. She was on house arrest. So go back and listen to that. But I thought I got into what the bloody handprint on that volleyball called Wilson that you see in Tom Hanks' movie Castaway, that was like a character in the movie. I talked about that, and it was leading up to Lady Gaga's dress, the red lace dress, which was from, I think it was the 2009, could be 2008, but I'm pretty sure it was 2009 MTV Music Video Awards, where Lady Boy Gaga won Best Artist that year. And I thought I had discussed it, but I didn't. So that's why I'm backtracking a little bit here. So if you heard me or you didn't, you can go back and listen. But I was talking about how Alan Rockefeller, a.k.a. Ellen DeGeneres, was being made to show the ankle monitor that Ellen was wearing around the ankle because Ellen was on house arrest, just like the one Oprah was showing at the same time. And they were wearing both the same exact banana yellow cream sweatshirt and sweatpants with ankle monitors. The White Hats were making them show that. And both of them were so nervous when they were being filmed at that time. They were just often babbling. But what Ellen was doing, because it was supposed to be the Ellen show, but it was really Ellen was and they were showing they never even mentioned Ellen's living room was glass, and they always had a dark man with the back pressed up against the glass, and another one they were monitoring, and Ellen never even mentioned and would never even say, why do you have, like, it looks like you have you're being monitored, there's men around your home, and not just like security guards. Well, Ellen was on house arrest awaiting military tribunal for crimes against humanity, of which Ellen was found guilty, and Ellen is not around anymore. And anyway, so what you could see if you go back to those times, you can look at those clips, I'm sure, from 2020. You'll see Ellen DeGeneres, Alan Rockefeller, trying to warn Tom Hanks a lot, because Tom Hanks, who is not around anymore either, was a really big cheese in this dark cult. And as I mentioned before, as this was sweeping through Hollywood in what was called the quarantine or the lockdowns, and back then Twitter was Twitter, and there were so many celebrities posting from their homes. Many of them were on house arrest, but some of them weren't. Like, I'll talk about David Spade in a little bit, and they were gibbering and so nervous. Some of them were coming off of they were having withdrawals from not having any first part, adreno. Second part of that word is chrome, put that together, or chromochrome. They were having their withdrawals because they had been cut off from their supply. They were looking for it. I'll try to remember, did not forget to talk about the code that, like, Sharon Stone was using, or Maria Shriver, or Britney Spears at this time. And it was all over Twitter, because that's how they were trying to communicate, or how Kristen Dunst tried to tell the rest of the acting community that Tom Hanks was captured. So Ellen DeGeneres was, like I said, in one show wearing a sweatshirt that said "Run, Forrest, Run." In other quote-unquote quarantine shows, Ellen kept pulling cards or playing some kind of games and showing it to the camera, but it was all about warning everyone that the White Hat Military Global Alliance is real, that Q is real, that these forces were hunting them and bringing them to justice for their satanic crimes against humanity, and oftentimes treason. The crime's so foul that, the foulest thing you could ever imagine, involving babies and children and stuff like that. Yes. And so Ellen was also wearing, to link back to why I posted in my thumbnail on YouTube as well, that volleyball with the bloody handprint from called Wilson. And then I talked about, also, you can go back and look at it, what those handprints meant. It's also related to those little child handprints that you see, like in kindergartens or nursery school, where they dip the children's little hands in watercolors or paint or something, and then they put it on a construction paper or on a mural, and then they post it, and what that means when you see it around your town or anywhere in the world. So go back and listen to that if you want to. And linked to that is when Lady Gaga wore that. It was a very tight, it was a mini dress, but it was all open red lace, covered the arms and the whole body, and covered the face completely, and then went up, like I said, to a large, pointy, askewed, it reminded me of like a Jughead crown from those old Archie comics, like Jughead or something. It was like, it's very crazy looking. And what that meant was, that's exactly what a baby or a human looks like when they're alive, after they are SKINNED, alive. That's one of the ways that the satanics get the BLOOD of babies and children and some young prepubescents, to get their blood to fill with enough adrenaline. That's what happens when humans are in fight or flight mode, for their survival, for their ultimate survival. Like the kind of thing, like if you're in the ocean and half of your body was in the mouth of a great white, that feeling that you have, that you know what's coming, but you're still fighting to survive, and you're in great pain and agony. Your blood fills with adrenaline. And that is what these satanics, they call themselves elites, but it's also their minions, even though this substance is very, very expensive. And chromochrome, which comes from the pituitary, is even more expensive. And yeah, by the way, Lady Gaga did have an album called Chromochrome. It's all related to that. Don't think it's an accident. But so that substance, which has been taken, you can look at art. You can look at art from hundreds and hundreds of years ago, and you can wonder, why did they have all these group of old men with these long knives with this little tiny infant, like a nude infant, and they were like, looked like they were torturing it or cutting into it. There's so many instances of this, and we didn't know what it was. We did not know what it was. And I'm not talking about if it were doing something like if it was the baby Jesus, just a baby. And or things of different babies having limbs being severed and cut off and falling on the floor. There's so many works of art like that that are from masters and are in museums, and we didn't know what that meant. But this practice has been going on for thousands of years. They drink that substance, and they do it to this day. I've seen many pictures. It's so horrible and nauseating and horrible and disgusting. They drink that. They literally drink blood. And that substance in that gives them incredible youth, and as well as different abilities. It enhances a lot of cognitive abilities, intellectual prowess, energy, lots of stuff. There was a movie that was made several years ago. I think it was called Limitless with Bradley Cooper. Go watch that if you haven't seen it. That was really about this substance. They were making it like it was like a little white pill or little pills. No, that's why they go after this substance. How smart it makes them, that they feel like, they're just supermen and women, and they're very young. And what happens is when they come off of that, you can go look at pictures from just about the time of, it's all really about the time after President Trump took office, the first term, right away, when he did his capitulation tour in 2017 and 2018. I've spoken about that recently, like just a week ago. Go listen to my clips if you want to. But you can see Celine Dion, who was a biological male, a Baphomet, turn into a living Skeletor. And you're thinking, what is going on with Celine Dion, looking just like a living Skeletor, just like the female called Johnny Depp, who was shown with the cap that said Fugly on it, Fugly, was taking pictures supposedly with a fan, but looked beyond like a Skeletor and beyond terminally, what you would say terminally ill. This is all, or the biological male who is really Anderson Cooper, who's Anderson Vanderbilt, the son of Gloria Vanderbilt. He had a brother that was said that unalived himself by jumping off of a terrace. That didn't happen. That brother, who you can see in earlier pictures with Anderson and Gloria Vanderbilt, became Kathy Griffin, that redheaded comedian. And when you see, which I've shown so often on my other social medias, when you see what happened to that being when they didn't have that substance, it's like things that you think come out of crypts. That's what it looked like. They age very rapidly, very rapidly. So when Lady Gaga wore that dress, it was very much paying homage to that. And I can't believe, thinking of the brazenness. I mean, many people, of course, are in that were in that audience or part of that. They know exactly what that is, but they know that they call us the Goyim, cattle or useless eaters. They know that we didn't know, and just parading that around like the worst kind of torture, the worst kind of thing. Yeah. So, and that all links back to that bloody handprint on the volleyball called Wilson. And it links back to how places that are doing child sex trafficking have put inset, usually in cement, and they make murals about it that are permanent. They're not paintings of little small child's handprints. And that shows the pedos where to go, that they're holding the the littles there for their sick ways to use and abuse them. You know what I mean? Gosh, it's such a heavy topic, I know, but really it's necessary to know this stuff. As I've mentioned, I stopped counting after 70,000 hours of deep independent research into the who, what, when, where, and why, and how of what's been running this world for so many thousands of years. But it's just, I really have a mission to educate people about this, but I also know that it's just so hard to hear this. It's just so terrible. So anyway, that sweatshirt that Ellen DeGeneres was wearing, also another one had that exact bloody handprint over the, on the right side of the right chest or pectoral of that exact image that was on the Wilson volleyball. And you also see Jay-Z, yes, of Jay-Z and Beyonce fame, wearing that same sweatshirt too. And by the way, Jay-Z is not around. Beyonce, the man, was the Baphomet, is not around. You could compare the very early images. Look at the progressives. I don't know how many clones of Beyonce or doubles there have been, but it's like hardly anyone except for maybe Hillary Clinton or Joe Biden has changed that much, as they keep swapping in and out different clones or doubles or face masks for these beings that are long gone. So let's see. Yes. Okay. As I've mentioned when I was talking earlier in this series about it, Little St. James Island, Epstein Island, it had many levels in that Temple Mountain that you see, the one that has that blue and white striped temple with, it had a gold dome until they say the gold dome blew away, with the palm trees exactly matching Ellen DeGeneres' talk show set. I put that in the thumbnail sketch of one of the series I did. Maybe it was part 4 of this series. You can see it if you go on my YouTube channel, called It's the Dazzling of the Light, or just type in at Sudarshana Starshine Star if you're not listening to this on YouTube, and you'll be able to see that. And please remember to like, share, and subscribe. It really helps me to share this content and to awaken other people. And I also do a variety of topics on my channel. I'm a spiritual teacher and a master soul healer, and I do share some ancient Vedic knowledge from India and some of my experiences as well, since I have had really very powerful experiences of the light and the dark, as my stepfather for decades still is the most famous shaman on the earth realm, as well as 2 out of 3 of my stepbrothers. They are as well. They're all beyond best-selling authors and really well known around the world, and they're Luciferians. I didn't find that out definitively until, as I talk about on my YouTube channel. I do mention something. It's called something like My Stepfather's the Most Famous Shaman on the Earth Realm, and I talk about my family a little bit, my biological family and my step family. But I didn't know definitively until February 2nd, 2019, when the divine struck me on the head with like an etheric lightning bolt that knocked me to my knees on my kitchen floor in the middle of the afternoon and gave me instant downloads of a lot of stuff. Until then, I had just been staying away from my stepfather and my stepfamily, and I didn't really know why I knew some horrible things that happened to me, very much, but I just pretty much was an expert at gaslighting myself and blaming myself for things, and I just was staying away for many years. But I wasn't I didn't quite put it together that, they're not Toltecs, it's not Nahualism, it is Luciferianism. And then many things that I experienced, many supernatural things, as well as just day-to-day things, just came into sharp focus. And I was like, okay, now I get it. Anyway, so, yeah, so a lot of things were going on in that temple at Little St. James. They had different levels. They had very crazy levels where you find this anywhere that the dark satanic elites are, where they're doing experiments with babies and children. And, like I say often, the satanic elites are not just obsessed with breeding of horse and hound. They've been very obsessed with breeding humans, and they also breed human and animal. The island of Dr. Moreau gives a great example of that. as well as there have been some streaming shows. Some of them are animated. I can't remember the one. It wasn't animated. It was a couple of years ago, and it kept showing these like half human, half animal creatures in the forest. I forgot what it was called. Something like Sweetheart or something like that. Sweet was in the title. I didn't watch it, but I heard about it, and I just didn't want to look at it. But that was the evils kind of priming you to accept that practice. So the Epstein Island had that. They had many different layers. They did so much satanic ritual there to the nth degree. And what I'm going to talk about in the next clip, because it's really important, if you've never heard of Rachel Chandler was a biological male. That was a Baphomet, so it looked like a female, but if you stripped off the clothing, it has the male undercarriage. And was called Ray Chandler, or people say Rachel Chandler, Ray Chandler, child handler. If you know how important that being was, that person's missing in action. No one has seen hide nor hair of that being for many years now, since the White Hats started kicking butt. It's a question mark what happened. But that's very much connected to Epstein Island, as well as to a lot of the elites. And also, when I want to talk about what Ray Chandler posted on Ray Chandler's Instagram, obviously Ray Chandler was feeling threatened, was feeling like Ray Chandler was going to get turned in or drop the dime on. So Ray Chandler, and many people who've done deep research like I have already seen these photos, and they know what I'm talking about. They're black and white. It's a series from all the cameras inside of different levels, underground levels on Epstein Island's temple complex. And specifically, you know I'm talking about, it's the large underground dining room area. What were they dining on? What was shown clearly in those photos, as well as a kind of a confused looking, it seemed very much to be the case, almost like 96% obvious that it was Hillary Clinton in shorts and like a casual top rounding the corner of one of these underground hallways of this temple complex. Anyway, these photos were really shocking. But shortly after that, Ray Chandler just disappeared. So I'm going to talk more about Ray Chandler, about who Rachel Chandler was and the importance of that in part 7. So thank you so much for listening. Please like, share, and subscribe. Why not join my YouTube channel? It's pretty good. It's pretty juicy and spicy. I appreciate you. Thank you so much for doing that. I close all of my clips with the closing prayers, which are in Sanskrit and Telugu. And what I'm saying is, God bless all beings in all worlds. Om Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Yes, peace, peace, peace. Oh, we're all looking forward to that after this righteous battle is won. Peace, peace, peace. Yes, freedom and sovereignty for we the people across this earth realm. How glorious is that? Yes. I'm sending all my love to you and yours. God bless you and yours. Big hugs. I'll see you when I see you. Catch me in the next part of the series. Bye-bye for now.